Hi everybody, Jackson here, back again for weekly endeavours, this time for the 9th of June. So as always, there will be timestamps in the description. I forgot to say that last video, I really need to make sure I say that. So weekly's okay, no great options, but you can do these pretty quick, like just 10 minutes, 20 minutes if you got the right setup for it. If you have a fast build or if you have a really strong build, a high damage build. Battleground matches, win or you lose, you can complete it. The only problem I have with Battlegrounds though is it can take quite a while for the queue to pop for Battlegrounds. The amount of time this will take, it's quite possible that the Battleground that you have to wait for will take longer than just doing this or doing this. A single Battleground. So doing 4 of these, I think it's just going to take way too much time. So my advice is, do this if you don't want to fight, and do this if you don't want to run around too much. You do have to run out of bound a little bit, but not too much. Alright, so I'll start with harvesting from the world. Most stuff works. The only 3 things I suppose that really matter are going to be chests, and thieves' troves as well. I'll count those as chests. Insects, so wasps, torch bugs, butterflies, the swarms of flesh fly that you get the larvae from, those don't work. Animals like wolves, beavers, stuff like that drops rubido hide scraps and leather scraps, all that stuff, they don't count either, sadly. So pretty much everything else is fair game. So logs of wood, runestone there, you can see in the little bit in the background there. Alchemy plants, cloth plants, ore nodes, dust nodes, yeah, lots of stuff. Water, like little swirly bits of water on the ground. I don't think fish do, but I wouldn't bother with that anyway, because getting other stuff's usually quicker. There's something else that doesn't work. Oh yeah. Sigil portals don't work. I found that out, but sigil portals are so rare, it's probably not going to matter anyway. Okay, so firstly, you want something that's quick, something with high mount speed and high on-foot movement speed, because you're not always going to be on your mount. There might be 2 things right next to each other. It's good to have something that runs fast between them. You also, if possible, want to have 2 champion points. You want Master Gatherer to cut down the amount of time it takes to harvest resources. This is really helpful. And Gifted Rider if you can get it, because this increases your mount speed. This one can also help a lot if you don't have a lot of stamina, though I imagine people with this many champion points probably has their stamina on their mounts maxed out, so probably not a big deal there. There's a couple of movement speed champion points too you might want to look at. Celerity increases your movement speed, Hasty increases your sprint speed, and in the green tree you've also got Steed Spotting that increases your overall movement speed, so that can be handy too. Now that there's a few of these that have been turned into yellow stars instead of green stars, it's a lot easier to slot that sort of thing now and not be super inconvenient. Especially liquid efficiency dropping as well in champion points is really helpful. Yes, let's do that. The other thing is, if you are not too familiar with certain types of things, like alchemy plants are a good example, Keen Eye will really help. It's a lot of skill points investment, so my personal advice is only do this for reagents, because sometimes, especially in places like Craglorn with all the green, some of these alchemy plants, and some of the cloth plants, if you're like in the middle of leveling up clothing, they can look very similar just to the rest of the background shrubbery, so having this to like highlight it in gold when you get too close, or when you get close enough, can be quite helpful for finding them, because some of these alchemy plants, man, they can be hard to spot if you don't know what you're looking for, like Columbine especially. You don't want to miss out on those, and those can be quite hard to see sometimes. Okay, so my speed build, I have a video on this, I'll link that in the description if you want to know about it. I go into detail about movement speed, how to reach movement speed capped, the stats I use, yada yada yada, and yeah, I'll make sure that's in the description for you. But basically, run through a zone, everything you see that isn't a chest or insects or strategic portals, just go through and get that shit. And you can get this done pretty quick. Sometimes you'll find enemies near things you want to take. Don't be afraid to fight them. Just be aware sometimes players, like other players out there, can be quite shit, and they come through and take the items when you're fighting. Does not happen very often, but it does happen. Mushrooms as well count. So wasps here, these don't count as resources from the world, sadly. So yeah, don't bother with those. Mountain flyer here, that counts. There's nothing near that, so not worth bothering. So if you... using Craglorn as your place to gather all these resources is good, because Craglorn is unique in that any of the resources that you gather in the environment are only certain types. It's only jewel nodes, ore nodes for blacksmithing, wood nodes, and cloth nodes. They're the only 4 that count. But those 4 have a chance to give you known crux. I'll see if I can find some. But they are red, like gem, or especially potent known crux. That's what you're really looking for. It looks like red cocaine. Do I have any on me? No, I don't. Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I end up getting some. Probably not, but it's quite rare. So here's the situation where some players like to just go in and grab that, but I'm not a dick. So. Here's a bug loss. Alchemy plant. Those are used for magic potions. You'll be surprised what kind of shit's out here. You can make quite a bit of gold by coming through and harvesting everything. But sometimes you just might come through and everything might be harvested. The only issue with using Craglorn like this is everybody else usually has the same idea, and they will come through and grab everything. So in that case, there's so many zones out there that you can choose from. You've got all the 5 different alliance ones. You've got all the DLC ones, new and old. Gold Road, that sort of stuff. So you have so many options, you just got to find a place that is less travelled. Yeah, so someone's come through and... Oh no, I haven't grabbed that. And haven't grabbed that. Oh yeah, there you go. So we've got a fortified known crux. So see what I mean? So this is 5,000 gold, and this is the cheap one. So you can it's quite lucrative. Quite lucrative. But yeah, unfortunately just exclusive to Craglorn. Yeah, so chests don't work, so I'm just going to prove to you that that's the case. I'll just take this. 7 out of 50, 7 out of 50, sadly. Not that I would bother with chests, because they take longer to grab than other stuff. Yeah, you get the picture. Running around for a little bit. Doesn't take very long, and we're already 20% of the way there, so just requires a little bit of running around, that's all. And finding a place that doesn't have other people running around too, I suppose. So the last thing I will mention regarding resources from the world are surveys. If you have some of those from doing Rift, they can be really helpful, because each survey counts as 6 nodes each. And you can get lots of good stuff, like surveys give you more rough materials than normal stuff does. The only thing you don't get is the housing materials. Some of these can be quite expensive, like Heartwood, still going for 600 gold, really good. And Mundane Runes as well. And the other one is Decorative Wax, but you don't get that very often outside of like killing enemies and stuff, so that can be good as well. I think Regulus is pretty good too. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, you don't get this stuff from survey nodes, sadly. You get it from everything else though. So keep an eye on that too. I think that's everything to talk about regards to resources from the world. Right, I'll move on to the other option. Alright, so the other option is to just kill enemies. This one's very straightforward, much more than the defeat enemies with X or Y, because it doesn't matter if you get the last hit or not. As long as you deal damage to enemies, it counts. So you can use anything with this. Trials, dolmens, dungeons, public dungeons, even if other people are fighting stuff, if you damage enemies, it'll count for you too. So you don't have to worry too much about competing with others. That being said, I do still prefer Skyreach to this, because there are more than 200 enemies in Skyreach alone in a single run. It only takes a few minutes to get through it. So that is what I would suggest you do. Getting Skyreach over here. Otherwise, I'd just do dolmens in Auradon for a while, or just pick a public dungeon, particularly one that is just in an area where not many people go to. But yeah, Skyreach is always my choice, just because of how many enemies are in this area, and it's instant, so nobody else can get inside, so you're not waiting for shit to respawn. You just go in, and everything's there, you kill it, and you just leave, and it doesn't take very long. So getting here for the first time, you want to use Home Tours with Earth Tier Cavern. Just go up here. If you haven't used Home Tours before. You just find it here, go browse homes, all houses, and then you go to Earth Cavern here. Just go to that, go out the front door, you rock up here, and you just go out, and yeah, just up here for the waste run, and then you cross this bridge to get there easily. The only thing you need to make sure is you've got 50 in Breakfall. I think 40 is the point in which you do survive it. I'm not too sure, but definitely try and get 50 if you can. The reason for that is when you sprint off this edge, you go down a cliff and you take a lot of fall damage. On the compass, keep Skyreach Catacombs straight, like in the center, and when you fall down, you'll hit a little elevated section and you won't die. That's the way to get there without dying. So Skyreach, if you have one available, try to get an ability that makes you immune to snares and immobilizations. The reason for that is there are a ton of things in this place that slow you. And even in the case of like when enemies die, they create like big AoEs that slow you the fuck down. So things like, for example, Sorcerers, the Ball of Lightning morph that makes you immune to snares and immobilizations can be good. Probably one of the best in the game is if you have the Sigil Order skill line. Race Against Time gives you major expedition, so movement speed, and also immunity to snares. It's amazing. But yeah, obviously you need some set for that. Nightblades also have Phantasmal Escape, which is excellent as well. Okay, so first room, I always pull these groups together. I don't go to the next room yet, because I find that sometimes the enemies struggle to navigate through like doorways, if there's too many of them in one place. But that's just me. Do it how you see fit. But yeah, you just want to come through, kill all these enemies, and move to the next area. So you can see there, I moved through that thing and it slowed me down like crazy. So when you're coming through here, you want to grab these bone mounds here with the skeletons as you come through. And same thing with the fire pits over here. They have skeletons in them too. A lot of the enemies that you get while going through here and pulling all these enemies, a lot of them will come from these bone mounds and these fire pits. So yeah, try and use them if you can. Now, you don't have to worry too much about how you kill this stuff, just kill them. That's the only thing that matters. Sorcerers are great because they have negate, so you just pop it in a spot and everything gets stunned in it and just slowly killed by negate. It's pretty damn amazing. They just don't have anything to get alternates back quickly. If you can, you could run in the fighter skill line, one of these options here, put it on the front bar, and slot Banish the Wicked, so every time you kill an enemy you get a little bit of ultimate that way. Nightblades get the same thing, so they're perfect, but yeah, that's something you can do. So in this case I'll put a trap on the front, and that way I'll get access to that. Really helps with Sorcs, because their ultimates are fucking amazing. Alright, so same thing here, just pull all these enemies. Bone mounds over here too. Heal myself. Always have like a on-demand heal that you can just cast without a target, because you'll take a lot of damage in here. Crap. Yeah, exercising the superiority of unstable wall of elements here. Both a damage over time, a powerful damage over time, and a spam ball. AoE skill. And to make matters even better, it procs enchants when it's on the back bar. There's a lot of reasons to use Wall of Elements if you have a Destroyer. Okay, so this room will be a little bit different, because instead of pulling it, instead of grabbing this, sorry, I'm modeling it up. So normally you've got these groups of enemies here. What you can do is grab the chest first, and now we pull the enemies, because what that's going to do is it's going to pull the enemies from that, and you also fight these enemies at the same time, so it's just a little bit more convenient per time. If you pull the enemies around the other outsides first, you won't be able to interact with the chest, so yeah. Right, negate in the middle, try and pull the ranged enemies over here, so they get stuck in the negate, and slowly stunned to death. AoE's on the floor, surge to keep our healing up. Trap on the ground to get minor force. Increase that damage even further. Wall of Elements and oh yeah, I forgot you can fucking use Conduit now as well. Use your own synergy. Based. Got an itchy nose. Hang on.
amount of enemies killed on the left, the bottom left there. You can see it's just going up and up and up. Though it does not take long to get this one done. And the thing is, this is like 2/3 of all the enemies here, so easily get it done. On surge, forgot about that. Tap on the floor. And they just keep coming and coming. They will stop eventually, but yeah, as you can see, tons of enemies. Now you just, the chest will light up, and then you can grab it, you get a purple item. Alright, so now we just repeat the process, but we go the other way. I do not like to fight these guys, because that is a boss there, and he has like 700k health. Not really worth bringing them just for one, or like for 5 people who are tougher than other stuff. Right, so fire pit over here. Grab this enemy group. So taking aim, this is kind of like the main threat that you're going to have in this place, so you want to avoid those when you can. You'll see them in the background when they have like the orange tint on the bows. Only the archers do it. Okay, so same thing, except we're just bringing everything over here. Same thing, negate. Try and line of sight them into the negate. And we got the weekly done. And look, we got so many more enemies to spare. And there's more coming. There's like ghosts in the background too. Yeah, there they are. You don't have to fight these guys. You can die if you want, because your job's done. If you die, you can just respawn back at the way shrine, or back at the start, and then just leave. But yeah, you can just kill everything if you want. It does give you fighters XP very quickly if you want to level that skill line up too. Alright, so if you have any other questions, as always, just let me know. But yeah, pretty straightforward weekly this time around. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. I will see you next time, and take care.